I think it's extremely important that we get that done immediately. And I apologize for not thinking of that, and I'm sure you'll hear that from everybody else as well. I don't know why or how that happened, but that needs to be corrected immediately.
Anything else?
I did have somebody ask me, they read or heard where people lost power and then could not hear the tornado warning sign. Is that a problem or is that not a problem?
I'd have to know what part of the town, I mean, as far as we know, the sirens are deployed. But, I mean, and part of the problem with that was, I mean, the National Weather Service didn't even issue any tornado or any severe weather watches or thunderstorms. Just bingo, there was this tornado warning. And thank goodness the shift commander caught that. And when he did, the minute the warning was issued, he set off the sirens.
Okay.
So I'd have to know a little bit more about the exact portion of town so we can test that siren to make sure it's audible. But that's the first I've heard of siren that maybe didn't deploy.
I'll see if I can find out.
Yeah, let us know. And that way when we do our test on Wednesday, we'll make sure that
All right.
siren's working.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
And then I already told you the problem with North Street and North Sixth. I looked at that last night. Boy, that's where all the dirt has gone down. Gone down to
North
the-
Fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have I think we're gonna be looking at having have you done any follow-up yet with this, Nick?
Excuse me, just like Hillary Clinton, I'm coughing.
I discussed it with Ryan today to see what we could do, and we were gonna contact Klinger. They have a geotechnical engineer, because there's nowhere to really start building up. You're gonna have to try and tie something into the rock somehow, some way, some sort of sheet piling potentially. Unfortunately, just putting dirt in there or rock is just gonna have it end up down the hillside again.
So if anyone hasn't noticed, at the intersection of North 4th Street and North Street,
It's right on the corner.
right on the corner,
Just
the
east of the
the
sidewalk.
dirt has washed out, immediately adjacent to the sidewalk,
Right up to
within
the
a foot of
sidewalk.
it, between the railing and the sidewalk,
Yeah.
there's a hole. And I don't know, it's a 4 to 6 foot fall somewhere in that neighborhood.
Further than that, once you get down, because
Yeah.
you're not gonna stop.
If you don't stop there, it's a long ways down.
It's part of the mudslide that happened on
And they got it
Bluff
marked
Road.
off with the red tape or the yellow tape.
But coming up with a solution on this is probably gonna be a little bit fairly detailed. It's gonna take some
It's
time.
gonna be pretty pricey too, is my guess, on how to fix it, but we won't know until we get there, but
Okay.
I'll let you know.
We talked to Nick today about this, but we just put up the stop signs at 9th and Angular.
Yeah, I went through
We've
there.
been up there as much as we possibly can, but there are people just absolutely flying through that, not expecting that stop sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, we understand it. I mean, you know, people have traveled this for years and years and years, and we understand it. So sometime this evening, I'm taking it, or we're gonna have a sign putting in the middle, one of them ones on rollers, a
That's a
four-way
good
stop
idea.
in the middle. You know, and try to get it tamed down, because I'd say the vast majority of traffic travels it every day, the same people, and once they become familiar with it. But just if we're still streaming or whatever, I'm just trying to put it out there that it's, be careful at 9th and Angular. They're supposed to stop, but far majority aren't stopping, so we'll get it as best we can here, as soon as we can, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went through there just right around noon. People were stopping, so that was good.
Chief, you wanna come and talk about house numberings? What's happened just do a review of how this has gone in the past and what your plans are as we move forward.
Well, we've done it a couple different ways. I think both times we called it your numbers up. The last time we did it, we involved the mail carriers, and we kind of had them go out and let us know what houses didn't have numbers. Then we'd go out and knock on the door, tell them, you know, you need house numbers. Or if they weren't there, we'd hang a little tag on their doorknob. The previous time, I think we actually walked through the neighborhoods. This time, I think we're going to end up driving through the neighborhoods, but the same kind of a program. If they don't have the appropriate house numbers, we'll we'll put a tag up on their door, knock on their door, let them know they need to put the appropriate house numbers, give them a time frame. We'll keep track of where we've been, then we'll give them a time frame and go back and check. And then if they don't put them up, then I think I had talked to Eric a little bit about that today. I don't know exactly what we'll do, but it'll probably be a nuisance of some kind.
Tell everybody what's appropriate. Can I paint my number on my front step?
No, it has to be on your house. I'd have to look at it again myself. I believe it addresses the size of the numbers, and they have to be contrasting to your house. And no, on the curb is not. People park on the curb, snow gets piled up on the curb, so numbers on the curb do not work. They have to be on the house where we can see them.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're working on, we're not out there doing this right at the moment, but we have somebody that's working on it, and we'll be out there pretty soon. So we can use it not only to do that, but for the guys to get some familiarization with the streets, and some streets we don't go down a lot, so it'll be good for us to be out there.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Nick, you have something else?
I have something else. Before the meeting today, Mayor McCampbell gave me a phone call and left me a voicemail saying that he had received a complaint about the fountain down by the auditorium not being on this weekend. I think there needs to be some clarification on the fountain. At a certain wind speed, it doesn't make sense to have it run, so we shut it down because of the water loss is so great, and then the chlorine, it's highly chlorinated, so when we're shooting it up in the air and the wind speed is above 6 miles an hour, all that water is getting dumped out, and then the cost associated with refilling it and rechlorinating it is extremely high. So that's probably the reason why you saw it off this weekend. I'll give him a phone call, but I just thought I'd address it here. So that's the reason why.
Thank you. You have anything?
You're the only one that hasn't come forward and talked yet, so.
What else do you have?
I think that'll kind of cover it. A lot of people will be out this week. I have a couple of council members are going to be going up to the League of Cities. Nick and myself will be going up as well. And actually, I'm sorry, Chief Baird will be going up this evening. So they have their own section of that that is at the front end of this conference, so we won't really run probably too much into any of the police chiefs.
Wednesday at noon.
So
Okay.
it'll be a week where there's a lot of folks out.
Okay.
Well, the rest of us, we can handle it. I mean, it won't be easy, but, right, Tim?
Yep, Bob and I's got it under control.
We're in charge. Or are we gonna have some fun?
Oh, boy.
Sounds good.
Works for me, Bob.
Yeah.
Whatever you consider fun is
Yeah.
good for me.
All right.
Okay, we're finished?
We're adjourned.
Anything else?
That's it.
We're done. Thank you.
You know, that gender issue.